All right, look quiet. Figured you'd come in and talk. Okay, so anyway.
You can switch.
Okay, sweet.
With the left button. Yes.
So my name is Wayne Beaton. I'm with the Eclipse Foundation. I'm the Director of Open Source Projects. Basic job description is to try and make project teams as successful as possible. And my good friend Olivier here today. Let him introduce
My name is
himself.
Olivier, and I am a committer and a trainer on Eclipse technologies in France.
So I'm going to go through a couple of concepts fairly quickly, just to lay some background. The intent of this talk is for us to actually fix a bug in front of you, but there's a little bit of background. I'm going to try and get through that in about 15 minutes. We have this concept of contributors and committers. Contributor is somebody who contributes code. That's kind of who this talk is targeting. The committer is an individual who works on a project. They are effectively people who have keys to the project. They can actually put code into the source code repository. They are the ones who can actually initiate builds, and the bits that the end user winds up using or adopters wind up using really are the responsibility of the committer. But we actually have, I should probably have included a graph, over the last few years we have seen a steady increase of contributors, people who are not committers on the projects contributing to them. We're pretty excited about this. We think there's a couple of different factors, but effectively it all comes down to the barriers for entry into Eclipse projects has been getting progressively lower. While still being able to maintain quality, which is pretty fantastic. I think a lot of it is that artificial and weird barriers have been removed. Certainly a lot of project teams were probably more concerned about things about some things than they should have been. Anyway, a lot of people kind of think about the Eclipse IDE as being this sort of single product. And I think that's kind of one of those things where we're a victim of our own success. We do actually put out what is a reasonably good product. The thing is, though, that the product is put together by a bunch of different teams who do some coordination, generally through the simultaneous release process, where we encourage project teams to release on the same schedule and make sure they communicate with one another. But I've got a list here. You know, the Eclipse IDE for Java developers, at least conceptually, contains a bunch of different stuff, bunch of functionality that comes from all sorts of different projects working together. And then, of course, you can extend the Eclipse environment by adding a whole bunch of other stuff that comes, again, from a whole bunch of other projects. Eclipse is a Java IDE by virtue of having the JDT. It becomes a C and C++ development environment by virtue of adding the CDT, for example. To participate in the Eclipse project, in an Eclipse project, to contribute code, we ask that you sign an Eclipse contributor agreement. The Eclipse contributor agreement essentially states that you authored 100% of the code that you are contributing, that you contributed under the project license, that your organization, basically you can legally do it, which effectively means that your company, the people who actually own the copyright for the stuff that you create, give you the permission to actually donate that code to the Eclipse project. And then, of course, you have to agree that there will be a public record of the contribution. Any contribution that you give to an Eclipse project has your name and email address on it. And that's just a function of the way Git works more than anything else. So anyway, if you are interested in if you are going to be doing some contribution to an Eclipse project, do go to eclipse.org/legal/eca.php, and that will give you information about the Eclipse contributor agreement and an opportunity to sign it electronically. You have to sign it once every 3 years, and that covers all of your contributions over that period of time. So one of the bigger challenges, certainly when you're talking about working with the Eclipse platform, is how do you even stand up a development environment to do work? What I recommend is that you download the latest nightly or integration build off of our download site and start from there. That will have the most up-to-date code. You can, Eclipse itself, the Eclipse SDK comes with all of the source code for itself. So you can actually do development right away. And by using the latest build, you can pull in the Git repositories for some subset, some piece of the overall platform, and have a reasonable expectation that you can actually do some work. The rest of the code will not have moved too far, and so you shouldn't have. You're less likely to have problems with compatibility if you use the latest stuff all the time. They do provide a guide in the wiki, and the URL is there, Platform UI, how to contribute. Specifically, the Platform UI team does that, but that applies to lots of other things. For other Eclipse projects, if you wanted to contribute to eGit, for example, or Eclipse Collections, I think has one of those too, you can use the advanced mode in the installer. And if you download the installer, it has an advanced mode which lets you actually build a complete development environment, including clones of your Git repos and whatnot, and a target environment and everything that you need to just get ready to work. Unfortunately, it's a little bit more, it works really well for every project except for the Eclipse project, the main platform. One of the challenges of providing a fix is figuring out where in the code to apply that fix. So let's say you find some behavior in a view that is confusing, and maybe you think, or even something as simple as maybe the text in something could be clearer, or maybe a menu entry doesn't feel consistent, or something like that. The Plugin Spy, Shift-Alt-F1 on Windows and on Linux, I'm not sure what it is on Mac, will give you the Plugin Spy. So basically the view that's on top of the stack, if you hit Shift-Alt-F1, it will pop up a box like this one here, and it will tell you as much information as it can about that thing, including the plugin that contributes it and the name of the class, or actually a link to the class. If you just click on that, it'll actually take you to the implementation, and you can look at the implementation. In the SDK, you have all of the code, so you can get all of this. If you start from the Java IDE, the Eclipse IDE for Java developers, it doesn't have the source code. So that would be disappointing. I'm not even sure if it has the Plugin Spy, in fact. If you want to do work on the Eclipse platform, the Eclipse JDT, the Eclipse platform resources, those kinds of projects, start from the SDK. You download it directly off of the Eclipse project's download page, which is different than our main download page. There's also a menu spy. If you hit Shift-Alt-F2 and then select a menu, it will pop up a dialog describing where that menu item is implemented and what happens, like what gets invoked, what command gets invoked when you click that menu item. It'll help you hunt down the code for that and get started. You can also find some help, places that you can fix code. If you look in the just the error log, double-click on the error log entries, it would tell you information about what caused those errors. We have, you may have seen the error reporter. Every once in a while, a little dialog box will pop up in the bottom right corner of your screen saying there was an error. Do you want to report it? This drives from the similar source, the error log. One of the things that we're finding actually is a lot of things are being reported as errors that aren't. So I've actually been opening up error reports to basically make an error, turn an error into a warning so that we don't actually generate an error report. So there's all sorts of different ways that we can contribute to the various projects at Eclipse. Of course, once you have that hook into the project, you can drop a breakpoint into the code. Again, if you just if you go from here, you'd have to actually do a Control Shift T to type the name of a class. Import operation, for example, might be an example. Then you can actually go into that class, drop a breakpoint into it, run Eclipse on that, or run a nested version of nested Eclipse inside the debugger, and breakpoint and use the debugger to step through the code. Getting the code, there's a couple of different ways. If you open up the Plugin Explorer, the plugin view in the Eclipse with the SDK, you'll get a list of all the plugins that are in the environment. If you right button click, one of the options is to actually import the code from that that implements that plugin directly from its repository. Now, most of our plugins actually do this, not all of them. We're still working with some projects to make sure that this is consistently done, but a lot of them do this. Alternatively, you can actually go to the project website and get a link to their Git repo, and Olivier is going to actually have a picture of that when he does his demo. One of the important concepts that you need to understand when you are working with Eclipse plugins is you need to understand what a target platform is. Target platform is the environment that the work in your workspace compiles against. You don't actually have to have all of the source code for Eclipse in your workspace. You can have some piece of that, just one plugin at a time, in fact, generally. But that plugin needs to know what environment it's compiling into, what other plugins it accesses. That's the target environment. So the target environment tells the compiler what you have access to. The obvious thing to do is if you're using like the latest integration build or a nightly build, the Eclipse instance itself and the plugins that it has in itself is the target environment. That's the simplest thing you can do. You can also use one version of Eclipse to work on another version of Eclipse. And you can do this by setting up a custom target. And if you're going to do that, I recommend you go get this target platform editor, which allows you to use some handy xtext-based language to DSL to realize a target environment. There's a link there, and there's lots of instructions on that page on how that works and how you use it. The API baseline is something a little bit different. You're compiling your Eclipse against a particular target, but if you were building a plugin of your own, you might decide that you want that plugin to work against any version of Eclipse from version 3.2 on. Right? You want it to be super compatible, so you want to go way far back. What you would do in that case is you set an API baseline for 3.2 of Eclipse, and there's some help to set that up. So the compiler builds against the target environment, but at the same time, you can set Eclipse up to check that the APIs you are using in your code are available in the baseline that you want to use. Right? So the API baseline can prevent you from using APIs that are not accessible or not available in older versions of Eclipse, should you choose to do this. For purposes of developing plugins in the Eclipse platform, you can actually set the API baseline to the target platform, and you'll be just fine. Gerrit Code Review. Most of the Eclipse projects use Gerrit Code Review, certainly in the Eclipse platform. I think, Olivier, you're going to demonstrate this, so I won't belabor this too much. You're going to show this briefly,
so. Yes.
If we get to it. Basically, you get an account. If you have an Eclipse Foundation account, you can use that to sign into Garrett. And Garrett is basically how you take code contributions, you send them to Garrett, and then that gives the project team some means of accessing it and doing a review of the code. One of the cool things that Garrett does too is when you contribute something to Garrett, Garrett can also automatically kick up continuous integration builds and whatnot, and build servers can have a vote in terms of whether a contribution can be accepted by the project team. Going into detail with Garrett's a little out of scope right now. Git commits, how am I doing for time? I'm getting close, eh? Git commits need to have oh, the pointer doesn't work. You need to have your email address and your name in the author field. We also need to have a signed off by footer with your name and your email address, and they need to match the email addresses. If you are a contributor, this needs to be true. Make sure that this happens. You can also specify other contributors if you'd like with also by footer. So anyway, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Olivier, and he will do some live demo.
Okay. So let's start with, we found a bug that we would like to fix. I will zoom on this. Actually, in Eclipse, there are, of course, a lot of bugs to fix, and one of them is that if you create a plugin project, any kind of plugin project, and you say you want to make contribution to UI, and you go to the next page, you see there is here, does it work? Yes, okay, oh, it's really small. Okay, there is a pop-up menu template, and the pop-up menu template uses an extension point, whose name is UI pop-up menus, and this extension point is deprecated. So we would like to remove this template and to have a version without deprecated extensions. So to do that, first of all, I must find where the code is. So as Wayne said before, we can open the Plugin Spy, and with the Plugin Spy we can find that this, I don't know if you can see that. We can see the plugin where the code is defined. This is in PDE UI. So that was not very difficult to find because this is a PDE wizard. But this is a good way to find where you can get the code. So of course you need to get the real code of this. And for that there is a good first, I would say, first entry point is to look on the Eclipse website, and namely on the page of the project. So each project has a page. I try to open it like this. And if you go to the developer resources here, you can find, I don't know if I can zoom. Yes, that will be better like this. Okay. You can find all the commands you must do to clone the code and to get the code on your Git local repository. So this is the first step. And then you need an Eclipse configured to use this code, to import the project, and to use the good target platform. So for that, as Wayne said before, we need also to use a target platform from Eclipse. So this can be done, oh, it's not this one. Yes, okay. So you can go on this main page where you can find all the distribution of Eclipse and get, for instance, the integration build of the latest version of Eclipse, and you can download this so as to put it as a target platform. So of course you must use the latest version of the IDE, or one of the latest version, and you must always work with the latest version of the target platform. So I already cloned the repository. I downloaded this, so now I can go to my Eclipse, and in my Eclipse I will zoom on it. Don't. So I can open the target preference page. The target platform preference page needs helps us to define the target platform. So I created one yesterday, just added a new one, and if I open this, I just put it on my download, unzipped download, so as to be sure that I use the latest version. So that's the first step. The other step of configuration, and that will be done after, it's the API baseline, where you can select the target platform you just set before. So that's enough. So this is for the setup of Eclipse to start to fix your bug. And then now we can import the project. So the project is actually the PDE UI. But if we open the Git repository, I'm sorry, the resolution is really, really small, so I must always zoom. If you open the repository, you can find in the UI directory of the working tree, there are several plugins. So, of course, you must maybe have a look on these plugins, but usually the templates of the PDE UI are, and not usually, always, they are always stored in the UI templates project. So I just imported this project, and I will start to make my modifications. So I will not detail everything because I already fixed the bug yesterday, but I will just show you quickly what we should do. And the entry point of this is that in the plugin XML file of PDE UI, you have got an extension of templates. So this is the entry point. You just pull this entry point and you just look at the classes that are referenced. You can see that there are some keys here in the plugin property file. So after some research, you will see that there are not a lot of things to do. It's only changing and removing files. So I've done that in this branch. So we'll just check out it. So in this new version, so now as you can see, my pop-up extension has disappeared, and all the stuff relative to this extension. So if I open my Git staging view, and I click on the project, I should see that, yes, it's already committed, sorry. I will check it in the history. I just change a couple of files, just remove 2 files and change some properties file. So of course I cannot commit it now because I must test it. And to test your plugin, you just have to launch a full, for this example, a full Eclipse with this plugin. So I will launch another instance of Eclipse, and I will check that in my new plugin wizard, I will not have this template. So it will not take a lot of time. Just have to open a new project. So plugin project, I can put whatever. And if I go to the next page, I can check that my pop-up menu has disappeared. So there was no code modification for that. It's just a delete. So that's OK. So maybe I can now push this to Garrett. So when I clone the repository, I have also the capability to set the Garrett configuration. I will just show that on, I think it's on this one. On the Git, yes. There was a Garrett configuration command here to set the Garrett setup to allow to push to Garrett rather than to push to the master branch. Anyway, it's not possible. And so this is explained on the wiki how to put your ID and your password. So for me, it's already done. So what I have to do is to refer to the bug. So when you commit something, so it's already done here, you must always say in the text of the commit, I will amend the commit, that would be better. I will show it in the, so OK, so Git staging. OK, so this is a typical commit message where you must copy the title of the Bugzilla bug. So that was the bug, this bug number. You must put the title, and then you must click on the 2 boxes, 2 buttons at the top here, this one and this one, so as to add your signed off and your change ID bug. So it's already done, so I will not commit it. And when it's done, so I will not amend it, it's OK, you can push it to Garrett. So to do that, I will just push it from this view. So I hope that the network will be OK. Oh, sorry. OK. So in this case, I will get, so I can open my history view, maybe. So it's pushing. It takes some time. I hope the network will be OK. So what is done now? Garrett will receive the commit and will create a review for that. So it sounds good, yes, OK. This is a typical dialog you get when you push. And it creates, I should receive an email with the Garrett review. And the bug will be updated with the new value. So I can go to my yes. I think in this one. No, it's not this one. Sorry. If I go to my Bugzilla and I enter the number of the bug, there was 2. I will find that Bugzilla has been updated with the Garrett review. So it means that I can, of course, open this link. And I should find a first reviewer, which is done automatically for us. This is Hudson. Hudson will, so sorry for the network, it's not really quick. I should share it on my phone, it will be better. In the Gerrit review, you will get a lot of different information. The first one is that it's the current status of your review with the project, the bug, and so on. And it will explain that what will happen if you definitively accept this review. So you have a fast forward only in this strategy. I don't know if it works. It's here. So it means that if I accept the commit, so I'm not really committed on this project, I just can say that I accept this bug, but I will not be able to commit it directly. But this status is important because, of course, the review can be done and the repository can still change before you make the review. So you will see sometimes that it will be proposed to rebase the patch so as to move it on the new version of the repository. So Garrett do that for you. You don't have to care about it. Just click on the button and it's okay. So in this example, we have, of course, the story of the commit. So not a lot of things. And there is a build which is started here. So I think I can click on it. Yeah. And we can check that there is a build running on Hudson, and we have to wait that the build is finished and that it's okay. When the bug is verified by Hudson, there will be a notification, and the reviewer of the project will be able to set a +2, and the +2 means that the bug will be merged in the master branch. So that's not very difficult to contribute, as you can see. The problem maybe is to set up your Eclipse and to set the good target platform, but as I said before, just download the latest version of Oxygen, for instance, and you must set only the API baseline and the target platform. So this is not a big setup. And then you can test it as many times as you need it. You can push the bug even if it's not, well, you must be quite sure, but even if you are not really sure of your fix, you don't have to be afraid about this, because the reviewer can refuse it, and you will be able to continue to work on it, and it's really easy to do. Another interesting feature of Garrett also is that the committer can fetch your patch in a local branch very easily, and it can test exactly what you have done. So that's very cool also, and it can also add comments on your code. So this is a fully integrated process, which is really fun. And this is for you as a software developer, something that you should really care about, because in your job, it will learn a lot of things. If you don't use a software factory like this, it can really open your mind on new tooling that are very, very efficient, even for your industrial projects or your software project in your company. And of course, on your resume, it's always good to say that you have fixed some bugs on an open source project. So it takes time, but I don't know, maybe it's the server, the Hudson server is long. Anyway, I think I didn't forget something, no?
Well, I think actually you covered a lot of stuff. Most of this talk has been focused on the particulars, the mechanics of working with our infrastructure, and kind of setting up your development environment. There was a little bit of hand-wavy magic in there about how did Olivier figure out where to do that template, fix that template? Where do you find that? How do you figure out where that lived? That's something that just comes with experience, and certainly if you if you're having trouble with the plugins, actually the Plugin Spy probably wouldn't have been helpful there. There was really no errors or reporting, so there's really very few clues. That was really a bug that we sorted out just because we have some familiarity with the code base.
But that's right, the plugin spy is really an entry point for, even for the class. I said there was the plugin ID here, but you have also the class. So if I click on the class, if you have got the source code,
I stand corrected.
You get the code, so you can change it.
Yeah, so that figuring out how to change, work with the various Eclipse APIs is something that just takes practice and experience. There is API documentation. The code itself is quite thoroughly documented. There's lots of examples of how things work within the code. It's also the case that just going to Bugzilla and mining for bugs that are marked as either help wanted or bug day. Bug day is generally used to flag bugs that the committers think are relatively easy. If you want to just find something to get started. And of course, very often on the bug reports themselves, there will be pointers to information on how to get started. That failing, asking on either the project forum, the project webpage will have a link to that. In fact, actually, the Git repository, should you get as far as being able to clone that Git repository, will have a contributing guide in it, which will tell you where to look for code and where to ask questions. So please don't, if you do want to contribute, please don't hesitate to connect either through a bug report or through a mailing list or through a forum associated with the project to find that help.
And that's fun.
And that's fun.
Yeah,
Talking with people is good.
With
that, we're actually 2 minutes under. I don't think we've ever done this with 2 minutes to spare. Are there any questions? All right. I guess we're done.
Oh, there was a question.
Oh, there's a question. How do we find bug day bugs? I'm not going to touch your French keyboard.
So when you search in
other
sorry,
side.
this is my request.
Other way.
Which one? Search with this one. Yes. Okay. When you do a query, you can. There is a keyword field, and you can say bug day here. I think it's already written. Yes, it's bug day. So you can select the project. You can select
status new, I think.
Something, or yes, status. Where is the status?
Just do status new.
Yes.
That should
you can just search that, and you will get all the bugs that are with this keyword.
So as we're waiting, okay, cool.
285.
We've been doing a bunch of hackathons lately, and we at the hackathon last night, actually, Lars Vogel, who helped me run it, was commenting that we've basically knocked off most of the bug day bugs through all these hackathons we've been doing. So that actually may have been bad advice. You'll notice that most of these bugs are eGit or the DTP data tools. There's very few in platform because they've been killing them. But anyway, there's still lots of other projects that have opportunities to contribute here.
Well, there are some bugs in PDE UI.
Oh, PDE is?
Oh, yes.
Oh my goodness, PDE is rich.
PDE UI, yes, is a winner. And platform UI, some bugs. But sometimes we have to check some bug days, and sometimes it was a little tricky. So, depends.
Anyway, with that, thank you for packing into the theater. To listen to us drone on about our topic here. I hope everyone is enjoying the conference so far. I hope you enjoy the rest of the week. If you do have any questions about doing Eclipse development or how the Eclipse Foundation works or becoming a committer, doing contributions, any kind of question like that, if you see me sitting hunched over my laptop or talking to somebody, please do feel free to interrupt. If I'm sitting in a public area, that's because I'm there to be interrupted. So I also want to thank Olivier for joining me on this adventure, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Okay, so thank you, and don't forget to evaluate the talk on the website of the conference also. So thank you.